This show is sponsored by NatureBox. NatureBox ships great tasting, healthy snacks right to your door. Forget the vending machine and start snacking smarter.
Bro, hold on.
Yes.
I do it like this. Let me do the NatureBox.
All right, do it.
Hey, everybody, listen up. This show is sponsored by NatureBox, okay? You want smart snacks? If you're hungry, you can go to the vending machine. Go ahead and get your high fructose, trans fat garbage, or you can break into a box of nature with NatureBox. You can get 5 bags, 10 bags, or 20 bags. And 20 bags normally when they ship it to your door would cost, I don't know, $50,000, $60,000. What do you think, Lee? About $60,000?
About $60,000.
Yeah, exactly. Well, guess what? Try $49.95. How's that sound?
And it's free right now.
Hell yeah, it's free. You will give you a free. If you listen to Joey Diaz's podcast, they will give you literally 5 bags for free, and they'll deliver it to your door, okay?
Like doctors.
Like doctors, they say. Like doctors.
Code word Joey. And what would you tell them about Onnit.com?
Onnit.com?
Yeah.
Here's the bottom line when it comes to Onnit. I use their products. I use their kettlebells today. They got crazy good battle ropes. Look through the catalog. You get everything there. Everything there is the highest quality. I am an Onnit user, and I'll go further. I went to Alaska with Joe Rogan. What'd I bring? I brought my Hemp Force protein bars, and I brought my Warrior bars. Was I hungry the whole time?
Never.
Hell no, I wasn't. Thank you, Onnit, because I'm on it. You look at my body, right? You go, oh, wait, Bryan, you're 47, but you play 37, right? Yeah, you know why?
That's what I was
take
thinking.
Onnit, and I use their products.
And you use code word church to get 10% off.
Yeah.
I used on it. I ain't getting no younger, but I ain't getting Ebola either.
That's how you do a commercial.
Do you,
right,
do you wear underwear,
cocksuckers.
Brian?
Yeah, you got to just read it with feeling.
No. Do you wear underwear?
Sometimes.
You know what you should be wearing?
I wear a testicle cinch.
MeUndies,
.com.
the best.
What are those?
They're
Tremendous.
They have tremendous underwear. Your balls don't sweat. They have women's underwear too. Sexy women's underwear.
MeUndies?
MeUndies.
Cuts.
I don't know
nice
anything about
European
this.
cuts, tremendous.
Really?
On top of that, the material draws out the sweat from your nutsack. I had surgery. I couldn't take a shower that night on my knee. The next morning I woke up, I scratched my nut. I went to whiff it to expect something horrible, and they were tremendously fresh.
Really?
Due to the fact I had MeUndies on when I go to jiu-jitsu. I wear MeUndies.
Very impressive.
It's tight by the waist. The legs cling on so your one nut doesn't fall out of the sack. You can't beat that. Go to MeUndies.com. They ship to the United States and Canada for how much?
For free.
Free, cocksucker. Free, bitch. Free NatureBox. Free, motherfucker.
And right now you get 20% off of your first order on top of the free shipping at
Let me
MeUndies.
tell you something right now. I got a European physique, so I'll be a customer very soon.
That's how I would have described you, as European.
I hear it all the
And you
time.
use code word Joey.
Remember, never trust a Jew that's giving you something for free. That's what they did to Jesus. That's how they got Jesus. They conned the man. They had hats.
Well, then this one isn't free then. Right. So you might know that, Brian, you might know that Joey likes edibles.
No, I know that. I know Joey is an edible connoisseur. The first thing he said when I walked in, he's go, "You want an edible?"
That's right. In fact, I'm going to eat a fucking...
You know what else he likes? He likes vapor pens. He likes vapor pens because he smokes oil, he smokes wax. If you go to naileditlife.com, they have the best vapor pens on the market. Code word Joey Diaz, you get 20% off.
You can eat that whole thing. That's a big edible.
And they also make these. I already had one. I'm fine.
The best. Those Gummies Hermanos.
They also
250 milligrams of fucking death. Look, I cut them right down the middle. Look at those teeth.
Unbelievable.
That's $1,300 at the dentist yesterday.
Incredible.
So use code word Joey Diaz, you're going to get 20% off of the best vapor pen on the market. And we'd like to welcome Iron Dragon TV. Go check them out on Roku. They have a ton. Any martial arts movie you want to rent, they have it.
Ooh.
Donnie Yen, Cha Young Fat, Yip Man, The Tai Chi Zero, classics. Enter the Fat fucking Dragon. Tremendous. Go to IronDragon.com. No, IronDragonTV.com. Preston, Joey, or Church. Guess what? You get 2 movies for free.
Bro, let me tell you something. It's amazing. The Joey Diaz podcast, perfect sponsors. You got snacks, you got kung fu movies, and you got edibles. And then the next morning, if you want to clean your system out, you got Onnit products.
And you got underwear.
And you got underwear as well.
And what do they tell you? Don't leave the house unless you got clean fucking underwear. So we give you
and a vapor pen.
And a vapor pen. Who's better than you? And we got a little waterproof sack just in case you got to swim to Cuba. Oh, shit.
Shit, this is the wrong one.
Dropping it.
Yeah.
Dropping Lil Rick James for you crackheads out there. The Church of What's Happening Now. Wednesday, November 12th, you bad motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Slinging dick and giving out bubblegum, baby. Rick James. Old school.
Ooh.
Crank that motherfucker, Lee.
Yeah.
Crank that motherfucker, Lee. Look at this edible. It used to be an edible.
Right now? Yeah.
Lee, that's the funk one. Give me the one with lyrics, cocksucker.
That's the music I fucked.
Oh, okay.
Give me something with lyrics.
Well, how about this? I'm going to give you what we were supposed to start with, and
All right,
then for
give
the
me
end,
that.
I'll get lyrics.
All right, you're slipping.
Little classics.
What else were you going to do? Sit there like a fucking moron and watch TV and scroll through the channels? The Church of What's Happening Now coming at you from the depths of fucking hell tonight. North Hollywood. Are you kidding me or what? Rip out that bong. It's over. It's over. You got a half an edible either. You got heroin? You might as well get this weekend started early.
Sure, this stuff sounds like kind of stuff you smoke opium to.
Bryan Callen's in the house tonight.
Yeah, baby.
Are you fucking kidding me or what? What's the story, Lee?
Nothing.
Where you been all day? What do you mean nothing?
I don't know. I went to the gym, had a good day.
So what else is crack-a-lackling?
I had Jordan Lee over
right.
to record a podcast. That was a lot of fun.
He's a nice guy, Jordan Lee.
He's a great guy. And that's all I did. What did you do today?
I did a bunch of shit. I went to jiu-jitsu. I drove up and down the fucking hill. I took my daughter for a walk in her little car. Then I went home and almost strangled my wife. You know, the regular fucking day. Right or wrong. On a Wednesday, by Wednesday, you want to strangle your wife.
What's the secret to making a relationship work?
Loving her.
Yeah.
There's no love.
It's a verb, right? Love is kind of an action, right? I mean, you gotta take the actions, maybe. I don't know.
You know, it's amazing. I got married when I was younger, and I didn't have an idea what marriage was.
Yeah.
I thought it was you got married to get laid and somebody to do your laundry, and you worked all the hours in the world. You didn't have to
Nobody
talk to
teaches you
person.
that shit, right? Nobody.
No,
there's no
no.
manual for it, right? It's like you kind of thrown in. I read this thing about how men and women, in almost every culture, boys and girls stop playing with each other about the age of 6. So they exclusively play with each other, like just same sex. And then by the time you're in college, that's when you shack up with a girl, maybe, or even after. So all of a sudden, you're living with somebody, and you haven't been spending any time, unless you got older sisters or something, but for the most part, they are aliens to you. And now you're living with them, and they think and they see the world in a completely different way. I broke up with a girl for sleeping through Raging Bull. Like, I couldn't understand why she'd sleep through Raging Bull. I was like, well, we don't have anything in common. I'm out. But, you know, that doesn't make any sense now that I know how different men and women are. Of course she slept through Raging Bull.
I broke up with a chick because she was a drug counselor. Same fucking difference. I'm trying to get high. She's trying to talk to me about fucking not getting high. That's a tough relationship right there.
Yeah, it is.
That's a true story.
How did you not know she was a drug counselor?
Yeah, I knew. I told her I smoked dope. That's it. And started dating her, heavy. Next thing you know, I got dead dick. I got white rings around my nose. She's gonna notice something. You know what I'm saying? That's what she does all day. Yeah, it's just weird. It's tough to. You got to put a lot of effort in.
Yeah.
You know, you have to put a real lot of effort, and I put a lot of effort in with my wife. And I put time in at the house, which is very important.
Yeah,
I can't be. However, I used to be a renegade. Who wants to be home?
No, I was the same
Who the
way.
fuck wants to be home? And then you hook up with a woman, you fall in love with them, and you're still half a renegade.
I had a guy, 2 people tell me very valuable advice. One was, they said, how do you define love? I was like, I don't know, I'm and they said, I'll tell you how to define love. He's older than I was. He said, love is when somebody's happiness is more important than your own. And then he said, and here's another piece of advice, learn how to fight. Learn how to fight. In other words, learn what not to say in a fight. Have boundaries in a fight. You can fight. You will fight. But there's a way to fight where it causes lasting damage. And then there's a way to fight where,
You just apologize.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You can complain, but don't insult.
Yeah.
That was valuable for me, man. Because I didn't know any of that. The girl I met wrote a play, not a play. She sent me the short film that she had written and directed, and it was on a date. The dude was such a douchebag, and I was like, this guy's a fucking douchebag. Guess what? That dude was me, and she based the guy not only after me, but used the lines I used on her. And I called her up, and I was like, I'm sorry, man. I was a shithead. She was like, no, you were just young. You didn't know. I called her a thoroughbred. I called her like it was all about me. I was talking about me the whole time, and then I was like giving her advice on how to fix herself. She was fucking smarter than I was and a better person. But there I was, the know-it-all.
It's amazing when you get a little older and you look back at your relationships and what made them fail and the dumb things you said or you did or why they left or why they didn't leave. Or
Well, I was also attracted to crazies. I was also attracted to the drug addict in the corner, the track marks. You know what I mean? Like I like damage, bro. I came in as the white knight on my horse. I'll fix you. You're from a good family over there? Now you stay over there. You said, let me check out the chick with no father on the pole with the track marks and the bat tattooed to her face. I'm the guy. Let me fix you. I'll move you into my house. I'll go through fucking hell for 2 years. And then I'll leave.
I'll leave the house with you.
I used to drive Rogan crazy. He used to go nuts with me. He'd pull his own hair out. He'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? But whatever. I had to go through my thing.
It's amazing how you look back and you were a shitheel. Like me, I'm talking. You did do things when you were younger that were just. I dumped a girl because she had no mom. But it came back to bite me in the ass.
Why?
Because it was the creepiest thing I had ever heard in my life at that time. At that tender age of 13, I went to a house dying to dry hump her and suck her titties because that's all I was going to get.
Of course.
And I asked her where her parents were. She told me her father was like a bus driver. And I go, where's your mom? And she goes, my mom died of childbirth. And I couldn't even think of swapping spit with her after that.
Why?
It took me about a week to go back down there and put it behind me. And then when my mother died 3 years later, that's the first thing I thought about as I was walking to the street to call the ambulance. Like that was like God punished me for turning my back on us because I didn't understand that. I didn't comprehend how somebody could go through life without a mother.
Wow.
It baffled me in the 8th grade. Baffled me that she was hot. This girl was really fucking hot. She was Irish. She had red hair. She had big tits. She let me suck her neck and suck her tits in the wintertime. It takes a certain type of woman to let you suck those titties outside in the winter and shit in January after a basketball game.
Oh, is this in New York?
This is in Jersey.
Oh, it's cold as fuck.
I'd suck her tits like behind the church in this little fenced area.
The greatest thing in the world.
She would let me suck her tits, and I would suck them for like 15 minutes and go into this fucking tit-sucking thing, and then you walk home with that hard dick, and you're confused. Yes. Oh, it was fucking horrible. And I'd walk her home, but during the week I'd go over there and dry hump her.
Yeah.
And she'd let me dry hump her and get all red in the face. And,
the greatest.
Oh, my God.
I remember those moments so well.
You do. You really do.
Well, getting first time you finger a girl, and I would smell my finger. I wouldn't wash it for a long time. Oh, shit. And I'd be like, bro, smell my finger. That stuff is real, man. When you're a kid, those smells, bubble gum and perfume and all that stuff. Oh, the smell of a woman was so intoxicating. It was beyond. I mean, that sensation you chase the rest of your life.
Who was the first person you fell in love with? A friend's mom, a friend's sister?
The first girl I ever fell in love with was my girl when I was 13, and that was in Saudi Arabia, but she was American, and I dated her for a year. That was the first girl. But having said that, I met a girl when I was 11 for an hour at a restaurant, and there was a picture of her that we had taken, that my parents had taken of me and her, and I used to stare at that picture because in my mind that was the first girl I ever loved. Kids are so pure. I was in love with that girl, man. I mean, for whatever that meant for me. In my mind, it took me 15 minutes to fall in love with that girl. There's that saying, I don't know who came up with it, it said it takes 5 minutes to fall in love and the rest is denial. And then there's another saying that says people get divorced after 20 years over what they knew about the person in the first 5 minutes. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. You know?
Yes, there is.
And I think that as you get older, like I was truly in love at 14 and truly in love at 18. There's no question about that, man. I mean, all in, bro. All in. And by the way, I'll go, and when I was 20, same thing. And then you start fortifying a little bit. You got a wall. You gotta have some snipers on the wall, man.
It's really weird, the women you end up with at a certain time in your life that you look back and there was no love. You ended up with them because of the situation at hand. When I was maybe 11 or 12, I went to Miami and I held hands with some girl, Natasha, and me and my cousin talked to them, and I remember going back to New York and looking at her picture and kind of being in love and talking to them on the phone until I got the first phone bill. Then my mom almost broke the fucking phone over my skull. It was like a $200 phone bill. She lived in Miami and I lived in New York. In those days, it wasn't no 10 cents a fucking minute.
No, it was expensive.
And then when I was 13, I was swept off my feet totally. I mean, to the point where you can't fucking focus.
That's right.
Maybe 12, couldn't focus.
Yep.
And it was the scent of a pussy that drove me. And I'm not saying this in a Joey Diaz way. I'm saying this, it wasn't even her pussy. It was the scent of that I was going to get her pussy that drove me crazy.
The perfume, the smell of her hair.
Something drove me crazy. And I mean, guys, I was always a great student. I had psychological problems, and I liked to yell in class, and, you know, we all like to go to ShopRite and steal bubble gum, whatever the fuck. Yeah. You know, I was a good kid, but I never had problems with grades. Like, that's one thing that's a staple. I just figured it out early on. I translated it from not knowing English and learning English for myself. I knew you had to put work in.
Oh, so English is not your first language?
No, I'm Spanish. I'm Cuban. Wow. So it was just really weird that I fell in love with this girl. I mean, I was all in. Like you said, I was in. I couldn't be off the phone with her. She lived across from me. You know, she would come over after school, and I'd dry hump her. I mean, I remember the first time she let me suck her tits. My stepfather found her in the closet with no shirt on. He told my mom. You know, it was two families were starting a feud. The brother didn't like me. It was that point, you know. Yeah. And then we were forced to break up, but it was too fucking late. I loved her, and then I went to summer school, and I failed out of summer school, so I got left back. It was fucking traumatizing. Till this day, I got left back for a piece of pussy. Like, I got left back for a girl.
I got left, man. I remember those.
It's a horrible feeling, and that's why I turned to basketball at that young age. But that was a love that fucking held me for years, you know.
Do you think that the death of your mother affected how you related to women after that? I don't want to get too psychological.
No, after the death of my mother, it's funny you say that because I started relating to women as they were going to save me. I had two girlfriends that I basically got pissed off at because I wanted to be saved. I wanted them to hug me at night and feed me. But the problem was these two girls were 21. They wanted to snort coke and suck dick. So my little fantasy went out the fucking window, okay? They wanted to eat Quaaludes. You know, they were young fucking girls.
Yeah.
I was ready to get married at 17 after my mom died. You understand me?
Yeah.
Because I was ready for that security again.
Yep.
So I was waiting for a woman to save me. And when one didn't save me, I just went on a fucking tear. After 84, after 21 or 22 or something like that, I stayed single for 2 or 3 years till 85. Yeah, I did. I stayed single. Those two relationships, I knew I wasn't going to be a relationship type of guy. I knew nobody was going to save me unless she was 40.
Yeah.
And she was desperate. Nobody was going to fucking save me. So I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to go out there. And I had a good time. I hooked up with a couple stewardesses. You know, you get the sex you need. I was never a sexual deviant. I never left the house going, I'm going to go get pussy tonight. No. My first thing was the addiction. Then if I bump into pussy and I got enough coke left over for maybe I'll invite her over.
You did blow for a long time?
Yeah, since I was younger. So it really... Then I got married. Then I met this broad in 85. And we got along. In hindsight, did I fucking love her? No. No, it's such a shame. It was need.
Yeah.
It was a hole she had.
Yeah, sometimes I think love, like I look back on the idea of love, and it was more this I needed to be the one that she loved. It was a competition. It was like a control factor. It was more like I just wanted to be the dominant creature in her entire existence. So in other words, like if she was hot, see, I would date slippery fish. I'd date girls that I knew had a history with other men. And, you know, they might step out on you. I like that kind of girl because that's a challenge. that's something I got to defeat. And so once I let that go, it was all right. But that was a strong force in me, which was I had to confront. I didn't even do it through therapy. I never was a therapy guy. I just kind of, I don't know, man.
You like dirty bitches. Yeah. I had a girl in '84 that was a filthy fucking animal. Are we best friends today? We're best friends today. She's a filthy fucking animal.
Yeah.
The guy that married her is a great fucking guy. I loved him. They're on Facebook. I talk to her 4-5 times a year. I see him for Chinese food when I go to Jersey. But she was the type of girl that stepped out on you.
Yeah.
And after we broke up, years later, she stepped out with fucking but at the same time, I was getting my dick sucked.
I was going to say, I've always kind of respected a woman that wasn't hung up on, she just would follow her instincts. Look, man, I was that way, so it was very hard for me to be a hypocrite. One thing I hate being is a hypocrite. I no matter how mad I am, I just try as hard as I can not to be a hypocrite, because that's the worst thing you can be in some ways, an imposter and a hypocrite, in my opinion. And, look, it's very easy to say men and women are different. Usually they are, by the way, but if I step out and I'm that guy and I find a girl that steps out and I get mad when she does, when I've been stepping out, makes me a bad guy. But I did get mad.
But you did get mad.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I tear the house up.
How dare you do this to me?
To me?
To me?
What
the fuck is
There's
wrong
better
with you?
dick out there than this guy?
Shit. It's
yeah.
No, I didn't like the stepping out type of bitch, because that shit gets you killed in my world. That shit gets the glasses broken and motherfucker. People go crazy over a piece of pussy. I mean, Star 80. I have endless amount of stories.
Well, that's what Picasso said. Picasso said, "Man does everything for a woman. Goes to war, fights bulls,
just fucking craziness."
Yeah.
So now you're fucking around with a person's livelihood, a person's woman. It gets into something else, and I had that. That's with this broad. I caught her with a dude. But at the same time, years later, I found out this. But then again, I was with all her girlfriends. It was cocaine. Cocaine was disgusting. It made people suck your dick while you give them a ride home. It made
Nobody did a lot of blow, and then their life got better.
No, nobody. It was so disgusting. I think of those things now, and it was that whole town where I came from was disgusting. Because
where in Jersey?
North Bergen, which is right by Hoboken,
I know
Jersey
Bergen.
City.
I lived in Hoboken, yeah.
Yeah, so it's right next to in Hoboken. We used to hang out in Hoboken, and they were all savages.
Yeah.
Those Jersey women, those Jersey guys, they're fucking savages.
Aggression in the air.
Aggression. If you ever watch the Jersey Shore,
you could fight in a heartbeat.
Somebody's cheating on somebody in the Jersey Shore. Yeah. Somebody was talking to somebody at a bar. That's in the air. That's one game I did not like early on. I knew it gets people bitch slapped, and I don't want to die over a piece of pussy.
And there's some tough guys. Those big, rocked out dudes who show up at the bar. I would go to Hoboken. I'd go out. This is in 91, 92. I'd go to the bar. I'd be the smallest, skinniest guy in that bar. It's just everybody, just big Italian
Shooters
guys.
Galleria was the big club in 94.
Yeah, I remember that.
I broke the door there like 3 times for $400. One night I told them, guys, I don't even want the money. I don't ever want to be here ever again. Because it was not for me. Those guys were fucking gorillas.
Yeah.
What did they do?
I saw one night where a guy took a bottle, broke it, and charged my buddy. And it was like a kung fu movie. He took it, twisted him, banged him, cut him with it. Cops came. They dragged him by the feet.
Yeah. I thought you'd love that.
No. There was a point in my life where I loved that. There was at one point where after I did time and shit, that was it. No. I wasn't going to raise my
Time cured hand. You from that shit, huh?
No, it wasn't that it cured me. It's that you see a different dimension. You see what could happen.
Yeah.
You learn. On the way here, a friend of mine had called and said somebody had gotten busted in Jersey for drugs. And I was thinking to myself, my God, what would it feel like for me to be 51 and to get busted for moving 7 pounds of blow or 7 ounces of blow? You got caught moving 7 ounces of blow, which is always a bad number right there. Somebody comes to you for 7 ounces, something ain't right.
Yeah.
So
what? How long did you spend in the pen?
Like 16 months. But this is a really interesting story. That I was driving. I was thinking about how come I never. Because I told you last week I never got popped for drugs. Never. Before the kidnapping, never. And I moved and I handled shit. I was on planes with shit. I never got popped for them. I sold coke. I never got popped for an undercover buy. I knew people who were working me. There's a system they use, how they work you.
Yeah.
And I remember I got popped. And when I got arrested, it was the first charge I got. Okay, so they were looking for me overnight. I kidnapped the guy on a Tuesday at 1 o'clock. They were looking for me after like 11 o'clock. The whole day Wednesday, they were looking for me the whole day Thursday. By Thursday, I started calling them up and fucking with them from 2 different payphones downtown Boulder. There was an Albertsons and a Kmart.
Boulder, Colorado?
Boulder, Colorado. So they're looking for me in Boulder, Colorado for 5 felony counts.
Oof.
And it's said in the paper, there's an accomplice they're on the lookout for. I'm on Lee Hill Road. I'm where Joe used to live, Lee Hill Road up there, hiding up there in the mountains. And I finally turned myself in, blah, 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 blah. So I turned myself in Friday at 11. When I get to the station, they try to debrief me, try to ask me a bunch of questions. I go back and forth with them. I tell them some bullshit, they hold back, but they go, listen, we have a problem. You did a kidnapping. Kidnapping is a federal offense.
It's a capital offense.
The feds are here to get you. Because at that time, there was other shit going on in Boulder. Some kid's car had been found in a parking garage, and it was bludgeoned with blood. They never found the body. Somebody had busted into some kid's house, and he jumped off the window, and he broke both his legs, and the guy stole his blow. And now this was a drug-related crime. So they kept saying they want to question you. So they took me down to fucking Denver, took me to a federal place, where I sat for 4 days until they decided whether or not they were going to press charges on me. Then when they got all the information, it wasn't a kidnapping over a state line, so they said take them back to county. But in those 3 days, I got to Denver Friday night late. I was fucking starving. And they put me in this thing, and I went, and there were nice little cells. You slept by yourself. But the next morning when I came out, I started talking to 2 dudes. There was one dude I started talking to, a white dude. He had visitation. My girl came to visit me. I went outside to talk to her, and I looked around to see who was visiting who. This guy had his parents there. They all had diamonds on. His girlfriend had fucking diamonds on. So I started talking to a bunch of people. I got cozy to him, and I started asking him what had happened. And he told me that this started 2 years earlier. That he was a coke dealer, that's what he does for a living, out of Aspen or wherever the fuck he was. And he was selling blow, blah, blah, blah. Some guy came to him and he was selling blow, but he goes, at the time, this guy was shooting coke. So he would come over, buy a half a pound of coke, and then ask me, do you mind if I blast some?
Wow.
And he blast coke. And he goes, I like blasting coke. And that's how I knew. I gave him the fucking syringe. So I started shooting with him. He goes, there was a couple times I even shared the fucking needle with him.
Oh, shit.
And he goes, one day the guy disappears, and 9 days later, I got a knock on my door. And I get arrested, and I can't figure out who it is, and blah, blah, blah. And I go to the fucking thing when they go to charge me. Still, there's a witness. He couldn't figure out who he was. They go to the preliminary hearing. It's the fucking undercover cop. It's
this guy who blasted coke.
9 months later. And he's telling his attorney, tell him to pull up his sleeves. He goes, the guy didn't even look like him. Like they had run him to a rehab.
Fuck.
He goes, Joey, I knew what was in that thing. I put the coke in there myself. I saw him blasting the fucking coke in his veins.
Damn.
Listen, I know one thing. Life isn't Miami Vice. Nobody's going to come to Lee, a smart Jew who's making $20 million a year selling blow on a boat, and going to go, listen, I need to buy 2 blocks of coke. First of all, you're going to do a background check. A guy like you has an attorney that runs Bryan through the fucking mill. Runs him. If anything's wrong, the sick people, do you remember To Live and Die in L.A.? They went in the guy's luggage to make sure his clothing said Beverly Hills on it because they said they were from Beverly Hills.
Damn.
I mean, they go through your shit.
They go through your shit.
They hire people. That's what they do. If I'm gonna fucking go into business with you, I'm like, yeah, you're a friend of Bryan's. Yeah, come on over. I'll sell you 55 fucking keys. Only in Miami Vice do people come over and shake it up and test it. You're not gonna sell it to them unless they do that shit in front of you. And fucking do it, and you see blood coming out of their nose, and they shot somebody in front of you. That's the only way you're gonna. I've never known people who just sell it to you. Those are the fucking people who get arrested.
Do they hire like former addicts to be, or just addicts to be undercover cops? Because I can't imagine just a regular guy who went to the police academy going and shooting up cocaine.
Well, this is the fucking deal. When the way to become a good addict is to live that life for a while.
Yeah.
You get thrown in it. You're interested in drugs. You have,
and the cops may not have known it. I mean, you know, you get.
They have to do it. And when you see, let me tell you something. There's nothing more fucked up than when you see an undercover cop.
Yeah, man.
When you put it together, you're like, God damn, fuck, he's right. So then I got transferred to Boulder. And in Boulder, I heard all the stories. Now, listen, anything anybody tells you in the county jail, you rip it 50% down the middle.
Yeah.
But you get paperwork. A lot of people sit with you, you become friends with them, they show you paperwork, and they start telling you their story, and you start putting them together one by one. It's the same fucking thing. It's amazing how they put cases together.
Yeah.
You have to come at you a couple times to strengthen the case. They're not going to buy 2 ounces from Lee and arrest him the first time. They're going to string them together to make the case stronger against Lee. They've made multiple buys from you. It really is...
Now, where does entrapment fall into all that?
What the feds are doing in New York City with the terrorists.
What do you mean?
And is it entrapment? That's the other thing. So I go into a mosque, and after a week, I start dropping hints. I hate fucking Americans. I hate fucking Americans. I hate fucking Americans. Americans suck dick. And all of a sudden somebody will say, are you correct? You don't like Americans? Yes. Come tonight to the Bronx, to 888 to say.
It's a very good accent.
And you go
come
to the
tonight.
Bronx. Come tonight. And you go to the Bronx. And
I have a very good voice.
you get there and they're building fucking bombs. And,
how can I trust you, my friend?
you know, and now you're an agent. You're in there making bombs with them. You're doing the whole thing. You're walking them step by step. In fact, you get closer to them by offering stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend. He works at NASA. He steals the cartridges. Ba-boom. You know, the whole time. Now you're close to them.
I'll be honest with you. I would cast you in that role, bro.
So, boom. There you have it. Next thing you know, you're arresting them when they go to blow up the car in Times Square or one of the other things. That's that's entrapment, but you're doing something for the U.S.
Right.
Entrapment with blow is, me coming to you and going, listen, I know where to get 10 pounds of coke for $18,000.
Would you legalize blow?
No.
You wouldn't?
No.
Why?
Look at these morons walking around just smoking reefer.
Yeah.
They're just smoking reefer and they're walking around like fucking momos. Can you imagine?
But don't people who want to do blow anyway? It's pretty easy to get.
No, it's pretty easy to. You know, wasn't it you that said to me the other day? What do you think about the tax they're adding to sodas?
No, that wasn't me.
Well, they're adding 30 cents extra to a gallon of soda.
Less,
Cocaine was 100 a gram. Look where it got him. Pablo Escobar is one of the richest men in the world. Not because he sells cocaine for 20 a gram, but 100 a gram.
Yeah.
I always say that cocaine was the biggest marketing genius of our time. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody, because everything was $5. Hits of acid were $4.
Yeah.
You get a nickel bag of weed. Heroin was $10. Angel dust was $5. Everything was $5. Also, some fucking fat
But the thing
dude
is,
with
like
a suit.
heroin. You can be an addict. You can be a heroin addict for 20 years before it devastates your life. You can be an alcoholic for 30 years before you lose everything. Blow is hard to keep going for a long time. Like, blow can tend to be pretty devastating pretty quickly. Like, if you're doing blow all the time, I would imagine you got a 3-4 year window before the shit really hits the fan. Wouldn't you say? Like, it's hard to do much else when you're wired all the time.
The only thing I have, whatever with you, the only disagreement I have with you is if you do heroin for 20 years, you have no repercussions. When you have any addiction, every day, you're not giving life your all.
No doubt.
And I know this from my marriage now and my marriage before. But let's take a look at the fucking test. First time I did a blast of blow was October of 79, a month before my mother died. Then I held it off till maybe December. I started doing a bump here, a bump there. And then once the 80s came, I was doing everything, acid, blow, whatever. But it was basically acid. I didn't get into coke till maybe the winter of 81. And that's when blow was everywhere. Right. What you see for weed stores now, and I was growing right with it.
Why? Because people didn't really know how devastating it was in like 81. It was kind of
it was still a marketing ploy that it was what rich people did. So cocaine,
classy drug, right?
Yeah. Cocaine. When you go to last night, I went to the Comedy Store, and tell them the lineup that we saw.
Neil Brennan, Sarah Silverman, who else went
Joe
up?
Rogan.
No.
He didn't go up. Gerard was there after
Gerard.
you. David Spade was there.
David Spade. I mean, you get these people.
Yeah,
So as a comedian, when you walk into that room, you get elevated.
Yeah.
You get elevated as a comic. When you did cocaine, it elevated you to the next level. When you walked out of that bathroom and everybody looked at you. I mean, fuck Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
That motherfucker came out of the bathroom snorting big time with 2 blondes.
Yeah.
That's the dude I want to hang with.
Yep.
Fuck Brad Pitt.
That guy's
man.
a lot more fun.
Yeah.
And girls want to fuck you.
It was amazing. It
Yeah.
made you a different person at
Yeah.
that. You went to a bar and everybody wanted to talk to you and ask you, how is it?
And the cops weren't coming down on that shit then as
They
much.
didn't know.
Yeah.
They didn't know. Nobody really knew what was going to happen. I kept that addiction going full till 85. And by the time I quit in 85, I was fucked up. I was living in a
They
hotel.
said that the music renaissance that went on in the 60s and then carried over to the 70s with all these great rock and roll bands. And then what happened was they stopped drinking and smoking weed and they got into blow and they got into heroin. And that killed the music. The Mamas and the Papas and all that, there was that, I think it was the Haight-Ashbury Festival, the Monterey Rock and Roll Festival. And it just ended up killing guys like, Hendrix and Janis Joplin and Jim Morrison.
Well, weren't all like the great 70s musicians on heroin?
Well, a lot of them were because, according to, I think it was Stanley Crouch was talking about the fact that a lot of those 70s musicians, their heroes were the black blues singers and like Muddy Waters and those people. And a lot of those dudes had drug issues. Now, there was a difference. If you had a black man in the 40s, 50s, 60s who was doing heroin, like Bird was, like Charlie Parker was, well, that was because, or Billie Holiday, that was because there was a lot of things going on, but you were black, there was a lot of survival guilt, you were trying to overcome something called institutionalized racism, okay? So there were a lot of pressures. There was a lot of shit that went on when you were black, and you couldn't vote, and you were a second-class citizen, et cetera, et cetera. We don't have to go into it. But then you had a bunch of middle-class kids who were musically talented. Their heroes were all drug addicts. There was something very cool about that. So what you had is people like Janis Joplin, and you had Jim Morrison, and they were talking like they're heroes. Hey, man, you cats are all, it was, you could hear them, but they weren't doing it very well. It was if you actually listen to them talk, they weren't so cool. They weren't like, the old time jazz musicians. And they were subscribing to a drug problem. They gave themselves a drug problem. So there was a difference in terms of, according to certain people that were talking about it, there's a difference between trying to overcome something like oppression and then subscribing to something because you want to be cool and giving yourself a drug problem. Now, by the way, there's another quotient to that, which is when you start doing blow, that shit feels really good, and some people just can't stop because they're wired that way. But one of the largest, there's a guy named Nick Ken who wrote a book called The Dark Stuff, and he was a rock and roll journalist, and he documents in the book how many talented motherfuckers like Lou Reed basically burned their talent out with the wrong drugs. It wasn't the weed. It was not even the booze. It was the fucking blow and the heroin and it wasn't the acid. It was the blow and the heroin that destroyed so many talented musicians and killed them.
It's a different angle. It feeds into somewhere different in your heart and your soul. When you do coke, the final result is you're by yourself. Tony Montana died by himself in a fucking room.
Yeah, coke isn't. It doesn't make you a fun person to be around.
No, and it goes. It's the first 3 years you're getting your dick sucked. There's people over. You're dancing with Callen. I love you, dog. We're drinking. Oh my God, we doing nothing. Let's meet in the bathroom. Do a black. It's a fun drug, and then you start pulling away.
Yeah.
And you start pulling away. Like when I watch the movie about porn with Marky Wahlberg, when he goes to his fight.
Boogie Nights.
Boogie Nights, when he goes to the guy's house. And that guy's got the Chinese guy.
Man.
You know how many...
He's throwing firecrackers.
You know how many places I went to at 4 a.m. to cop where a guy came out and we talked to you, and meanwhile he would open the door every 15 minutes, and he'd have like, his brother and some other guy fucking a 16-year-old girl in there, and you're waiting to get a half ounce of coke, and he's talking to you. Hang out for 5 minutes. You want a piece of ass? She's 16. We just picked her up.
Jesus.
And you're sitting there. When you start doing blow, all you want to do is go do blow and get your dick sucked. Now you're at this fucking guy's house who's got a 16-year-old girl coked up back there, and 3 guys are fucking and shooting pictures with her. Do you know what that feels like? Do you know what it feels like? I was in Beaumont, Texas one time. I called this guy at 3 in the morning. He picked me up. He goes, I got to take you to a fucked up neighborhood. And we went back there, and they were fucking those dog and fucking chicken things where they were fighting.
Yeah.
And
Cockfights and
I
shit.
remember it was fucking 3 in the morning. And there was 150 Mexicans there gambling and shit.
And did you realize it then that you hated it, or was it just the drugs? And looking back on it, you're like, "Fuck, that was fucked up."
It's fucked up. Not so long ago, we were doing a podcast at 4 in the morning. You and I, 6 in the morning, and I went over to that 7-Eleven on Cahuenga, and there were 2 guys, and one guy was pimping a girl out to another guy for drug money. And this is at the 7-Eleven, and I'm watching this, and it brought me back to many a years where I was just. All I want to do is get a gram of blow, Brian. That's all I'm here to do.
Yeah.
Well, sit down, man. This girl's going to suck our dicks. You got to watch. What the fuck are you talking about?
You know what? Lee Kuan Yew, who is the longtime Prime Minister of Singapore, realized that Singapore was in the Golden Triangle. There was Burma. There was all the opium was surrounding Singapore. And Lee Kuan Yew was like, here's the thing, man. I want this country to be a first world country. It was a really hot, swampy part of the world. And he said, all right, here's how it's going to go. No doubt that everybody's going to start doing drugs. We're going to have a drug problem because it's so easy to get. So he goes, all right, if you're caught bringing drugs into this country, I don't care who you are. I don't care what country you're from. You're going to hang. You will hang. And there won't be a jury. There will be a judge that will look at the evidence. You hang, and you hang quick. And there are so many stories of like Australian hitchhikers, backpackers who come in. They got a bunch of opium that they wanted to sell in the States, and they were going to come to Singapore. They hung. You take the Kenyan grandmother who's selling blankets and trying to sell drugs as well. She hangs. And they were like, to Lee Kuan Yew, Charlie Rose said, look, man, there's no jury or anything. And he said, no, they hang. And he said, but, that seems so inhumane. He said, does it? We'd hang maybe 4, maybe 5 people a year. How many lives are ruined in your country from drugs? How many children are homeless? How many children are orphaned? And he went through all the stats. And I got to say, man, I was like, damn, the dude has a point, man. If you've only got to hang 5 people and a whole bunch of children have a home. I mean, look, I believe in freedom, so it's a difficult thing, and I think drugs probably should be legal personally because I'm a libertarian. But it was really interesting to hear a benevolent dictator, which is exactly what he was, kind of talk and make a case. And I was like, well, I don't know. I can definitely see where he's coming from in that. If it's a small country like that, I don't know.
I saw a headline today that just weed being legal here in Denver and Oregon, it's killing Mexican cartels. Like, their profits are way down.
Well, weed should be legal, first of all. I
mean, of course.
The idea that weed's not legal and alcohol is the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's an old argument, but I mean, you get punched in the face by a fucking alcoholic. You're not getting punched in the face by somebody who smokes weed all the time.
That's true, but my mom back in Boston is in her mid-50s, and when I tell her I smoke weed, she doesn't see a difference between that and heroin.
That's because she's been brainwashed by a movement that started a long time ago. That was ignorant. It was reefer madness. It was, hemp is bad, all that stuff. I mean, it's a classic example of a misinformation campaign.
But I think if you went to them,
put people in jail and ruin lives because of that stuff, and I think it's bullshit.
Well, I think if you went to them and said, listen, that's going to get rid of the cartels. I kind of agree with you, Joey, about legalizing like harder stuff like heroin and coke. That seems like kind of dangerous. But for like smaller stuff, I think it gets rid of some of the evil.
Listen, I had a couple problems. I know drug addiction from a couple angles. I know drug addiction from the numbing of pain. I know drug addiction from the excitement level. I don't like fucking working on movies, Bryan Callen. Okay? I fucking hate working on a movie. I don't give a fuck if Jesus is in the fucking movie. My dick gets hard when I go to the audition.
I'm right with you, baby.
When I go to the audition, I see 3 guys that are actors, and I'm a fucking bum that learn how to act at the Comedy Store. And I go in there and smoke them. That's it. When they call me to go do wardrobe, I'm like, oh, this sucks dick. The same
You know how you make an actor miserable? Give him a job.
Give him a job.
Yeah.
The same thing with blow. My whole thing with the blow wasn't doing the blow. It was copping it.
Oh, yeah?
It was the heartbeat. It was walking into that dark building, knowing nobody's going to fuck with me.
Yeah.
Walking past 3 black guys at the door that both of you would go, I don't know if I'm walking in that building. Guess what? I'm walking in that building. And I'd walk to the 2nd floor, knock on the door, go in there, sit down, do a blast, talk to them a little bit, and walk back out. That's what made my dick hard. Getting back in the car and going back
Just
over
the
to
danger,
Jersey.
huh? The danger.
Just
and all
the
of it.
whole thing. Just the
Yeah.
whole thing. I was talking to somebody that they were asking me about prison. They said, when you were locked up, did you have an affiliation? Whenever we see people, they always have an affiliation.
Right.
I never had an affiliation. I always sleethed my way through it. I was like a snake. But I knew how
You didn't
to...
gang up or any of that shit.
No, I knew how to satisfy people's needs. It's either money or you hook them up in one way or the other.
Were you in federal or Penn?
I was in state.
You
I
were
was
in
in
state.
state.
Oh, shit, that's
so
no
there's a
joke.
way to weasel your way through life. People, you know, we have a podcast that's independent. Everybody is pretty much mugged up with somebody. We're pretty much independent. You know, one person has asked us, you know, to create a monopoly, and we're like, no, but it's still the same fucking point. I've never been associated with nobody, but I had black guys that had my back. I had a couple white dudes that had my back. I had a couple Italian guys. I had a couple Mexican guys. So it all worked out because I worked in the kitchen. I was the stock clerk. So I had keys to a room that was off base.
So you could get people stuff.
I had steroids in there. I held stuff. So if you came to me and said, I got a pound of heroin, put it under the rice.
Wow.
They never had the dogs up there. It was like a known business. Everybody knew you didn't bring the dogs to the fucking store.
Because everybody's getting a cut.
Because the storage clerk runs the shit. So I would have...
How'd you get that gig?
I had a driver's license. The guy got revoked, and I moved right in. I almost blew up the kitchen. They wanted me to make cinnamon buns. I was not a baker, but they made me a baker. I didn't know how to fucking bake. And I was making these things, and they came out like flying saucers, and the kitchen almost blew up. So the guy, I'm like, I want to quit. Because they hired you. That's the first thing they ask you. Did you get hepatitis or whatever?
Yeah.
You got hepatitis? No. Go talk to him. They got jobs in the kitchen for you. So he looked at me and goes, you're like a baker. Mr. Diaz. So he made me a baker. When I failed as a baker, he gave me a different job, like a dishwasher / something. And then they
You eat better too, right?
Yeah, you get the top shit off the shelf. But I had a driver's license. So they made me a stock clerk combination, pick the guys that you see picking up garbage. I'm the one that would take the garbage back to the jail, okay, to the Camp George West. So what I would do is, if you ever need anything, just take a mile walk on the side of a road. Excuse me. You'll be very surprised what you find. You know how many people buy a gram of Coke, do 2 bumps, and get paranoid and throw the Coke out the window?
Oh, shit.
So these guys would find wallets and money and drugs. Constantly they found drugs.
On the side of the road?
On the side of the road.
Where? Just on the highway?
When you're driving, yeah, just on the side of the road. I remember 15 years ago, a comic came into the store from another state, and I can't remember what his name, Kerry something, and he called me. He's like, hey, man, we worked together. You said if I was ever in Lake and you hooked me up. And I go, sure. He goes, can you get me an 8-ball? And I go, yeah, where are you staying? He told me where he was staying. I go, oh, you're right a couple blocks from El Compadre. I'll meet you there. Nice kid. He was like a feature actor. Him and his wife fed me. And
There goes that career.
Hysterical. He bought the 8-ball at like 9:30 at night, and I went home. Do you know this guy called me at like 11 o'clock? Fucked up. And he's like, hey, man, you got to pick me up. I need another 8-ball. I said, I just gave you one. He goes, it's a long story. And he did 2 bumps at El Compadre, and he got so paranoid, he threw it over a fucking fence. Jesus. So he goes, I need it now. I need to. I get you another one. I got him another one. He spent $500 one night.
Unbelievable.
And he called me again. He goes, I dumped it. He used to get paranoid.
And dump it.
He'd dump it.
What? So when you were driving, did you have a guard in the van with you or the truck?
No, so I would pick up the garbage. So the guys would go, Joey, how hide this? So I'd put it under the garbage. So I would find like an ounce of or a bag of weed with a little weed and papers. Let's say it got fucking blood on it or water. It doesn't matter. They would find little Coke bottles that were sealed, and they would bring them in because they got searched.
So did you ever try to escape or run away? Or
why would I?
Because you had a van. I don't know if I was in prison. I had a van.
Fucking escape. You're never gonna stop running, and then they're never gonna give you that thing. They're never gonna give you that trust again. When you get revoked from mid-level, they'll put you in high security from now because you tried to escape.
That sucks, right?
That sucks.
So wait, so you were in mid-level,
right? Because when you get classified, they classify you by a lot of things. Most importantly is where you're working at the time of your arrest, what you got arrested for. You have a high school diploma. Do you have a driver's license? There's like 7 or 8 variables where you're going to school. So as soon as I got sentenced, even if they gave me 4 years, I was eligible already for a halfway house because of my numbers. I was like a -1.
So when you got murderers and rapists and all that shit, like those gangs, those white Aryans and all that, those guys are in their own area? They're in their own block?
They have their own little areas. Like, for example, let's say that the guys that hate fucking black people and Chinese people, whatever they are, the Aryans, right? They had a couple Aryans I didn't get along with, but there was one dude, John Clark, that was my motherfucker's motherfucker.
Really?
He was tatted up. This guy was 6'4", not in the best shape of his life. Like, he had been through hell.
Yeah.
But he'd light you up. And everybody knew he would light you up. Okay. He liked me and I liked him. And he was from Philly, and we played ball together. He's the first person that really started giving me meth. He would smuggle meth on Mondays, and we'd have to leave the facility at night to go to another place to play basketball. So we'd get high. Me and him would do a couple lines of fucking speed.
How'd he get meth? They throw tennis balls over
they do a bunch of things. So he was my one motherfucker. And then in the kitchen, I became friends with a murderer. His name was Spencer Antoine. He's probably dead now. I've been fucking Facebooking him and Googling him and everything.
Can't find him.
Murder. That guy just cold out murdered somebody. He was going to murder somebody at the camp. This guy did not play around. He had like a cock eye. And he was from New Orleans. He was from across the fucking way from New Orleans.
Bad motherfucker.
He was
New Orleans has a
big motherfucker.
A long history
list
of murder.
And he had murdered somebody before, involuntary, and this was the second one.
Yeah.
But he paid this motherfucking attorney and shit, and I got him off and shit. And he used to, his name was Chicken Hawk, Antoine Spencer, Chicken Hawk. But he would always ask me, Cuba, what time it is?
Cuba, what time it is?
What time it is? I always.
And he worked in the kitchen with you?
He worked in the kitchen. And he was tight with the guy that ran the kitchen. Then there was this big dude from Buffalo named Etchie, and he had my back. So I had the black dudes, and then I had a crazy white dude that worked in the library.
Damn.
He had murdered his wife and her boyfriend. They were cheating on him.
Shit.
And he worked in the library. This guy was maybe 5'6", very unassuming.
Yeah.
But I knew if this shit came down. He didn't say talk to anybody, but I would do acid with him.
Wow.
He didn't talk to anybody, but I would trip with him. And he'd have the keys to the library, and we'd go in there, and he'd show me books and shit. He was the one that told me to get into stand-up comedy.
Really?
Yeah, so and then I had this Mexican duo in there that was an uncle-nephew team that were in there. And the nephew was a fucking jack-off, but the uncle was a little older, and he had a burrito business. So I told him I'd help him with the fucking burrito business. He had tremendous burritos, green chili and mashed potatoes.
In prison he had burritos?
Yeah, they would get him smuggled in. I'm going to tell you something that a lot of people don't know about me. And here you go. I don't know how many people listen to the podcast. Would you go see me on stage sometime? I told the word faggot around. And I've never really had a gay guy come up to me and say anything, but I could see when they shake my hand afterward, and I feel a little insecure. But I'm going to tell you something, I've earned that right. And I've never told nobody the story, not because I never told it, because I never remembered it. When I got to that place, the place that you didn't hang out with was the AIDS unit.
Mm-hmm.
AIDS was brand new. Mm-hmm. Nobody knew about AIDS. It was 85 when...
yeah, man, people didn't know if you could get it from, like, tears or... I remember
when I
it well.
got sentenced to prison, after you settled down... The first place I went to had an AIDS unit, and they had 5 guys in that AIDS unit. They had a black guy who was gay, and he was dying. he was losing hair already.
They died in a bad way. Before they had those protease inhibitors and shit.
Then they had a black dude that was like a player type, that he had it from shooting hair on. There was a Mexican dude that looked just like Machete.
Yep.
There was a white dude. And that was it, 5 of them. And they had their own refrigerator, their own kitchen, they had their own area. And when I got there, the bookie that I teamed up with, he used to do business with them. Like, he'd get them extra shit, like medication or whatever. And he told me, he goes, those people are good people, and the rest of these motherfuckers who are criminal pieces of shit, they treat these guys like shit. So guess what I did one day? I walked into that fucking AIDS unit.
Took care of them.
No mask, no nothing. No, they walked around. There was nobody sick in there. There was one guy that slept kind of all day. But the rest of them played cards and threw dice and listened to rap music and fucking Bobby Brown. And I became their friend. And I brought a kid in there from Cleveland, another Italian kid, those Mexican dudes. And pretty soon, these AIDS guys had a fucking family.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't judge them. I knew like 1 or 2 of them might have been gay. One of them kept saying he got it from the needle. But I didn't judge them. I just remembered like that I was in prison, and I felt so bad for what I had done. I wanted to do something good. And I started thinking about how I felt sometimes, being Cuban when I came from Cuba, and how people stay the fuck away from me.
Stigmatized.
Like stigmatized. So I went against my grain, and I hung out with these HIV guys. And I got to tell you something, man. I never talked about this. I always thought the hardest thing about getting locked up was the holidays. And those guys made my holidays because they cooked. That fucking kitchen looked like better than an American kitchen because all these AIDS guys had families and all of us had families. And we just pooled all our food together. You couldn't believe it. Wow. You fucking couldn't believe it. There was nachos and we're in prison. We're in fucking prison. There was little shrimp cocktails, and we're not the mafia, you know. We're just ain't Goodfellas.
No, ain't Goodfellas.
Where they got steak,
slicing the garlic with.
Oh my God! But I remember we had chips and the 2 TVs going, and that was the first season of Love and Marriage.
Yeah.
Love. So we would watch that on Sunday nights.
So in a way, like your prison memories, in a way, are nice. I mean, are not all bad.
So for all these motherfuckers who say, "Oh, you're a sexist, you're homophobic," listen, I was hanging out with HIV motherfuckers. And then
back in the day before you were born.
Let me tell you something. I was hanging out with HIV motherfuckers in '88, bitches with no mask and no gloves.
Well, here's what I have
just with my heart.
Look, I mean, I was talking about this with the PC Army when Artie Lang made his comments about Kerry Champion or whatever. Look, Artie Lang is a really good person. Artie Lang is not a racist. Artie Lang doesn't have a racist bone in his body. He's not, and he's such a good person. And yeah, his jokes were rough and maybe they were clumsy. But I know for a fact that guy wouldn't want to hurt anybody's feeling, including that girl, Kerry Champion, I think her name is. And I always feel like whenever the PC Army points their guns at a guy like that, or Alec Baldwin for calling somebody a cocksucker. Alec Baldwin called this guy a cocksucker, and the gay mafia, whoever they were, the extremists, basically came after him and said, "You're a homophobe." No, he's not. No, he's not. And when they attack people like Al Baldwin or Artie Lang, you're attacking the wrong dudes, man. Point your gun somewhere else. If those guys are on your side. And for me, it's like most of the people that I know, that I hang with, that I really know, and that are friends of mine, and people like yourself. You're not a prejudiced person. You're not. You're not. I know very few people who are. If you're that guy who just is dumb enough to just judge somebody on their sexuality or you're a fucking a-hole anyway. I'm not gonna hang with you. And more importantly, you're probably a dummy. So, I just feel like every time we live in such a politically correct world, and you got to be so fucking careful about what you say. What's his name? Who got got suspended for 2 weeks from ESPN for saying that such and such should dress her age. Oh, that's sexist. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. We're so precious about the way we speak. People are censoring the way we speak. These gay laws on campus, rape laws on campus, they're trying to get people to have verbal consent. You got to say yes. If you don't say yes and you just have sex, you could accuse the guy of rape. Talk about an infringement on freedom. You're just jumping in there. Look, nobody's fucking pro-rape. You're not doing anything to stop rape when you pass laws like that. You're just infringing on freedom.
You're just fucking up my fucking heart on. That's what the fuck you're doing.
Right.
Because any good
Get
pimp
the fuck
knows
in, right.
a freak wants to get her hair pulled and tackled and shit. And sometimes on the way down, you forget to ask the freak, do you mind if I stick it in your armpit and shit?
Thank you.
Know, one of the
Thank
best,
you. It doesn't make you a fucking rapist.
It doesn't make you a fucking rapist. Sometimes you get the animal attraction. So I'm going to stop in the middle of my... It's bad enough you got to wear a fucking condom.
Yeah.
Because your daughter might have fucking chlamydia and she fucked 10 dead football
Not
players.
that stopped me when I was a
can't
kid.
eat her fucking snack. Yeah, you like
When I was a
all
kid,
that.
I used to fucking roll the dice. I'd be like, yeehaw, here goes nothing.
Oh, my God.
Were you a condom wearer? Not me. I never wore a condom when I was a kid. I'm
just
setting a bad
stayed the
example.
fuck away. When I was 16, 17, this girl wanted to suck my dick from her. I thought it was disgusting. Like, I just thought all that shit was... No, condoms are fucking disgusting. I'd rather get something and take a shot.
Exactly.
You have to stop, and especially when you do blow, your dick is dead.
Right.
So you got to put a condom on when your dick is dead. So you got to put it over your dick, and they got to tickle it and suck it, then it's gonna grow into the condom. I don't have that type of time. If you got something,
I don't have that type of time.
If you got something, it looks like we both got it. Fuck it, let's just take a chance.
That's
Columbus
it.
did.
That's
I had a couple things. I had some leakage and shit. I had some crabs. I never go to the doctor.
That's like my buddy. My
That
buddy
shit
goes,
heals
he's a
itself.
comic, and I'll tell you his name later.
No, I don't want no
No,
names.
not
names.
now. And but he's great. He goes, he never used a condom. I go, you ever get clapper? And he goes, nah. He goes, I've had some leakage. I go, the fuck do you think that is, bro? What do you mean leakage? He's like 45. I'm like, pick up a medical book.
I remember I was dating this girl for a while, and I had like some weird leakage. I didn't know what the fuck it was, but I wasn't going to tell nobody. And one night I was coked up to the gills, and I was ready to eat a monkey. And she had leakage, and it was dry on the monkey.
Boy.
I just brushed that little dust away, and I got in there like a savage.
Don't be a pussy. It's just chlamydia.
fuck.
Whatever.
Just some fucking juice.
Take a Z-Pack, you pussy.
Drink a fucking orange juice, the freshly squeezed your back, and some wheatgrass and some shit.
Now they got that penicillin resistant, that antibiotic resistant gonorrhea. That can be a problem. That's hard to get rid of.
No, I don't want none of that shit. Listen, I don't want none of that shit. I don't know how these people go to these massage parlors. I would love to fucking just go to like a massage parlor for them to rub your shoulders for maybe 2 seconds. Then for them to squirt on their faces like that, or with a cellophane on your dick. I hear these horrendous stories of people doing some crazy shit right here on the street here, all over the valley, all over the place. I would love to be able to do something like that. I am paranoid to the hilt because I don't want to get involved.
I don't know if there are cameras in those rooms. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
You think there's cameras?
Yes, there's cameras. I don't know. Maybe. I just don't know what to expect. I don't even know if it's a setup. That's what I worry about. I go in there. See, the way my mind works is I go in there and it's a setup and gas comes out of the fence and next thing I know I'm tied up to a rack and they're like, yeah, we got another co-ed, another college co-ed, you fucking gimp. And that's it for me. That's my fantasy. I mean, that's my fear.
Would you do it like when we had the guy from the Bunny Ranch in? I know everyone gets tested there, so you have a better chance there of not getting something than you do out in like the real world. But even that would still scare me, even though I know they're tested. Just knowing that they do that with so many people.
That chick that called in and said she'll lick your nutsack, right? And your asshole. Let's say you're in the heat of sex with that chick. Are you gonna swap spit with her, whether she gets tested or not? 2 hours ago, she had her fucking tongue deep in some.
Well, no, yeah, if you've gone that far, yeah.
So if you swap and spit with her, you're gonna swap spit with her and not think that she had her tongue up somebody's ass 2 hours ago.
Well, no, but if you make the decision to have sex with them, you basically have given you say fuck
so at
that.
the Bunny Ranch, there's no condoms. That's what you're.
No, you have to wear condoms there. But I'm just saying they get tested. But because when they came in,
you been to the Bunny Ranch?
No, but I was single for like a year and a half when I moved here, and when they came in, I kept thinking, God, that would have been nice when I was single for that long. But even though I know they get tested, it's still something in my brain anyone who has sex, and it's kind of a sexist thing too, because any guy who has sex that much, doesn't bother me at all. But just
see, my problem with all that stuff is that I just don't want to be a dollar bill. That's why I don't like strip clubs.
Yeah,
I just I don't know, man. Going in there and it's a transaction. I don't know. It never really did it for me. It never really gets me going. I want the girl to like me a little bit.
But you said you dated strippers, right?
Yeah, but they, that was all crazy and passionate and nutty. And believe me, there were no condoms being used.
It's amazing.
You have a fantasy of dating a stripper?
No.
Okay,
I had
be
a
careful.
4 year run with a stripper, and it was one of the worst experiences in my life. I ended up in jail twice. I lost my clothes, and I loved it. I can't lie to you and tell you I loved the drama
juice,
and
the
sex
juice,
and the you know, the thing. And then one day we both looked at each other. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I want to be a comic, bitch.
See ya.
You know, see ya. I want to be a comedian. You know, and
I look back on my life sometimes and I think to myself, there were a lot of people I wish I had deleted from my life because I would have gotten a lot of shit done. Like, I wasted a lot of time trying to take care of people, dealing with their energy. Maybe I was working something out. I don't know. I mean, I try not to do it too much, but I do think about what I would do differently if I went back to being 30 or 25. I don't know.
what
I
would
did
you
a
do
lot
differently?
of it.
Tell Lee what you would do differently.
My stuff is going to sound really weird. I mean, there's no question I would have continued to have been a stand-up comic. I think I would have done stand-up. I took a long time off. First of all, I took like 8-9 years off. I would not have done that. And then I would have kept doing it because I love it so much. And I was trying to be an actor, and I look back on it, and I realized that what I like more than saying somebody else's words and wearing somebody else's clothing is writing my own shit and having that experience on stage. There's nothing like stand-up, in my opinion.
Well,
There's nothing like communicating with the audience. Then I probably would have boxed earlier, and I probably would have done stuff like that. But there's not a lot I would change. I would, I think about stupid things like buying real estate in Venice.
When would you have gotten married? At what age?
I think I did that right. I took my time.
When did you get married?
40.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Because I just was tired of myself. I was the center of my own universe, so I wanted children. Because I don't know, man. I was looking at my nephews, and I thought to myself, I could easily die right now, and I would die for these kids because they're more important than I am. Like, I really, really meant that. I remember I was like, the fuck? It doesn't matter. And I was like, and then I was becoming particular and peculiar about my tastes. I was becoming very self-involved about how I had to have my pizza, how I had to have my fucking coffee. And I didn't like that person. I don't want to be that anal and particular about my own appetites. I fucking hate people like that. I want to be a little sloppy. I don't like having shit. I don't even like being that guarded about my own ambition. I don't. I just would, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain how I feel, but having children for me is a relief. I love those little kids, and I like that they put me in a position of service, of giving as opposed to taking, because that's what I was for a long time. I was the center of my own universe. Very easy for a comic to be that way, or someone like me anyway. And I was a taker, man. But then I started finding myself giving to shitty causes, like dating an addict and trying to fix her. And a psychologist I was friends with said, bro, you have a deep need to help. I had birds and dogs. So you have a need to nurture and help. You're doing it in the wrong way, man. You're buying fucking macaws. Macaws live 125 years. They'll shred your furniture. They cost $3,000. The dumbest shit in the world. They make more noise. I was being sued by my neighbors. You're bringing in girls who, have track marks. The fuck are you doing? Either get involved in a real charity or have children. And, I listened. So,
it's people say movies and movies or whatever, but we learn from movies. We see different things. You ever see what's the movie with Andy Garcia and Richard Gere?
Internal Affairs.
Internal Affairs.
Great
At
movie.
the end of Internal Affairs, what does Richard Gere say as he's done?
Yes, great movie.
Don't have kids.
Yeah.
And it's. I had a kid at 20-something. I loved that child. Somewhere along the line, everything got fucked up, and we don't talk. We haven't talked in about 10 years. It's a painful situation, but at the same time, it's about somebody trying to show a bigger dick than somebody. I got a second chance. And I got to tell you something, and this is the weirdest thing I've ever said to anybody. Once you have a child, you just don't give a fuck. What used to, when people come over to you, you're not going to believe Sarah fell off the wagon. Let that bitch die. It doesn't have nothing to do with me. It's like
I know.
you just lost
It puts things in
80%
perspective.
of luggage because nothing matters. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden you're like, I wish I was like this at 20 because I see this, which I saw a lot of those things. I saw a lot of those different things. But now, and I say it on stage, I never gave a fuck. But now, I really don't give a fuck. Like, I really don't give a Frenchman's fuck. I care about her and my wife, and that my wife is happy, that there's gas in the car and there's food in the refrigerator. That's what I give a fuck about. Anything else you're talking about, I have no idea. Mm-hmm. Legalizing marijuana for blind kids so I can play the drums, listen, I'll give you $3. You know what I'm saying? I'll buy a T-shirt. I don't know what to tell you. People hit me up all the time for shit. They don't understand your time when you have children. They don't understand.
My buddy just left me a message. I don't see you. Listen, bro, when I have time,
there's no
I'm spending time with the kids.
Because I can't make a schedule with Lee. Last week, Lee and I were supposed to get together for 3 days. We finally got together because I don't know what mood the child's going to be in that morning. I don't know if the babysitter's going to call. I'm not going to make it today. Every day is a new fucking adventure. And you want me to be fucking on your team to sell weed, to legalize weed and to put an ad together. What are you fucking talking about? I barely have time to write jokes. That's why I go on the road to write.
Yep.
Because it's 3 days of solitude with a cup of coffee, the TV off, and you fucking writing in a computer or writing in a notebook. I don't get peace. I don't know when she's going to kick the door down and go, what the fuck is on the computer? What are you watching? And I got to stop what you're doing. They don't give a fuck about Twitter or MySpace, or they don't give a fuck. You got to sit them down and stop what you're doing and fucking put whatever they want to watch on YouTube, whatever, the ABCs or simple songs. It changes. I have to go to Jiu-Jitsu at 11 in Beverly Hills. That means I got to leave the Valley at 10. I get her out of the house at 8:15. You tell a kid at 9:30 on a swing, we got to go home because Daddy has to go to Jiu-Jitsu.
Good luck.
You don't understand. Then they're calling you. What happened to you today? You told me you were coming. I got a 2-year-old that fucking trumples everything.
Yep.
Trumps everything. That's just the way it is. Tomorrow morning I have to leave before she even knows what the fuck's going on. I got to leave at 8 in the morning before she even knows what's going on. There's jiu-jitsu at night, Joey. Why don't you go at night? You try walking out in front of a fucking 2-year-old with a bag. Go ahead. I dare you. It's not going to work. So you lose all these different aspects, and you have to reschedule. There's so much learning. There's so much learning and reprogramming and what you used to do.
I've learned a lot about men and women watching my son and my daughter interact. Because my son is a destroyer. My daughter is a lover. My daughter will build an entire, dollhouse out of Lego, and she's got little animals and little babies that she's feeding, and it's a whole city. And my son comes in and he's like, the fuck is this? You got a whole city here for no reason? Apparently you haven't heard of Godzilla. And he fucking just destroys it. She's like, ah! I'm like, why can I understand? It's just funny. I have so much sympathy for my son because I understand him as a boy. He's a linear. My daughter's got 15 different emotional levels. You watch. She's 6 now. Try figuring that shit out. You never know how her brain works. It's just a different machine. My son is linear. Tired, angry, hungry. I got you. I got it all. I see it right there. I can read that kid like a book. My daughter is a maze, man. It's incredible. Just an emotional creature.
What do you think, Lee? Want another edible?
No, I don't. But you were saying you would have not taken that break. No, guys, I'm high, so I was thinking about it. I'm not that spiritual, I'm not religious, but I kind of do believe that, because I've thought about it before, would I change anything, go back and redo high school and focus more and then go to Harvard? I'm pretty happy where I am right now.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, look, I am my mistakes, and I'll tell you something that I really like to think about. Most of what is important as I get older, I guess, if I could give myself advice, if I could go back and give myself advice, I'd probably say this to myself: hey, learn what not to think about. There is a law of subtraction. Learning how to think is really a process of deletion. We spend a lot of time thinking and indulging mentally in areas and spaces that are not helpful to us. We stress, we worry. It's bullshit, it's unproductive. You got to learn it's better to learn what not to think about. Instead of making a to-do list, make a not-to-do list. You'd be amazed at how much shit you do that ensures your own failure. It's really important. And that's what I would say to myself if I was 20 again. I'd be like, hey, don't waste your time with this bullshit.
But do you think someone can actually follow that advice without going through it, because I lost weight last year juicing. I lost a ton of weight, and I gained it all back. And now I'm doing it, working out and eating healthy, and I feel like since I've learned, I've gone through that stuff. I would say that is a different. I
think that's a different topic, and that topic is this: human beings are always running from pleasure and running toward pleasure and away from pain. Right. I think that's how you can break somebody down. There's something about eating certain foods that you find more pleasurable than you do painful, although the result can be more painful. Right. So I think that the way you deal with addiction personally, or you deal with food issues or whatever it might be, is you've got to start to feel the pleasure of eating in a healthy way and the feeling it gives you versus this other feeling you've been so used to for so long. I think that's the best way to deal with that shit. They're coming for me, Joey. They're coming for me.
What are you doing? Every time I hear a fucking signal, I always think of what I did today. Every time I hear a fucking signal, let me give some shout outs here. Get the party started. My main man, Jew established 1981. I want to thank you for drawing the picture. They're going to send it to me. Mattias Tovinen, Chung Kennedy, you bad motherfucking Chinaman, Philip Body, Mike Lavin, Benji Barrow, Tony B, Bad to the Bone, and Seven with Cheer, whatever the fuck it is. Got a little nose hair here. I got to talk to you about something. What's up with you, Lee? You all right?
I'm good.
What are you going to eat when you go home tonight?
I'm hoping nothing. And this edible's kind of kicking in right now, so I'm not sure.
What are you feeling?
Everything. I don't know. Everything.
The sun, the moon.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. Like I can't eat when I go home, because that's when the munchies get the worst. Is after you start, it tastes amazing, so you just keep getting more. So I'm just gonna try to run home and hide in my bedroom where I don't have food.
What do you got at the house to eat today?
Got rice cakes, got goldfish.
A couple of rice cakes never kill nobody.
But it turns into 10 rice cakes, especially on that.
Peanut butter on this shit.
Not peanut butter. Peanut butter has a lot more calories than I thought it would.
Hummus?
I do, but not for like a snack. That's like with dinner or something.
So you got to put up with eats hummus on fucking rice cake. It's funny, when you came in tonight, we were talking about acting. I from Joe, and then I bumped into you in a 2001 acting seminar by the casting director of Sleepers and Godfather 2, and he also did Donnie Brasco. What was that fucking guy's name? You remember that guy's name? It was at UCLA.
Yeah.
And I saw you, and I walked close to you. You were talking to two freaks. Yeah. And you were in fucking somebody sucking my dick seminar, because those seminars are really.
I remember that well. That was Milton Gonzalez's seminar, wasn't it?
Milton. That was the one we did, but then we did the other one. Who cast Godfather 2? John.
It's an Italian last name.
Yes, he's from Jersey.
Yeah.
He grew up with Donnie Brasco. That's why he cast Donnie Brasco. He grew up with him, and he went to high school with him.
Yep.
Who cast Godfather 2 or Donnie Brasco or Sleepers?
Let me look.
Shit.
So we're talking about soap operas and how.
Jane Feinberg, Mike Fenton, Vic Ramos.
No, the casting director.
Gotta scroll all the way to the bottom to get the casting director for which movie you're watching.
For Godfather 2. That was the casting department.
No, go to Sleepers.
Sleepers.
By the way, everybody, while he's looking, I'm going to be at the Ontario Improv this weekend. Tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
4 nights.
Louis DiGiamo.
There it is. Louis
DiGiamo's from Jersey. He cast Sleepers, Godfather 2, Donnie Brasco. He was on fire for a while.
He did a lot of stuff.
Lou DiGiamo.
Louis DiGiamo.
What about him, though? You were telling the story. What were you going to say?
We went to that. Go ahead. What did he cast, Lee? What are you looking at? All
I'm trying to find his IMDb page.
Jesus Christ! I thought you had it already. We're talking about how we went to that, whatever the fuck it was,
seminar,
and how you think you're prepared for Hollywood. Like when you first move here, you take an acting class and you do different things. And we're talking about jobs that you get. Like my first job was a Taco Bell commercial. Then my second job was basketball.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what was going on. I just kept. Then I cast Mad TV as Big Pussy. And then I cast.
I'm going to see Will Sasso right after this.
Send him my love. Yeah, he's a good dude. And then I cast a bunch of shit, but you learn.
Yeah.
And when I first started casting, everything was high dollar productions. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Everything CBS, I was stealing fucking wardrobe. It was tremendous.
Yep.
Nobody really checked your wardrobe in those days.
Money everywhere.
And you get these jobs, you know, like we were comparing Spider-Man 2 to like the movie I did with the director I had, Paul T. Murray, Boilermaker. You know, where you had to fight for lunch every day, and they gave you like one serving of bread and shit. And then you do a movie like Spider-Man 2, where you walk on the set and you're taking a gallon of pomegranate juice to your room. And the fucking dude there's pistachios, 3 different flavors, jellies, there's breakfast, there's lunch. You know, it's just an amazing thing. And you learn how to maneuver your way through sets, you know. And I remember I got a job on General Hospital. And I remember leaving after the second day going, oh my God, if I didn't have the experience I had, I would have got fired from that job.
Right.
Because it moves so fast. Like there's nobody holding your hand. When you do a movie like The Longest Yard, we had umbrella girls that would hold an umbrella for you under the sun.
That's Puff Daddy kind of shit.
So you wouldn't get a fucking suntan. And they were all strippers from the club. So they went to the strip club at night and said, who wants to work tomorrow? For $250 a day, holding a fucking umbrella.
Good times, baby.
You know, being a smoothie girl and shit. And then when we shot the movie in New Mexico, it was like a paradise. When we came to Orange County and Paramount had access to us, there was no more umbrella girls. There was no more smoothie girls.
Yeah.
There was no more, you know, so you learn different things from movies. Like, and I know you've done a ton of them. And you still do low budget ones ever?
I do. I did one last year, but I may not do any more of those.
They're a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, you got to pay me a lot nowadays because otherwise it's a waste of time. And let me tell you something. There is no such thing as a low-budget movie that does a thing for your career. It just doesn't, man. Give me one example. It's just an expensive student film. And, you know, it's very hard to make a movie. And if you're getting involved with amateurs or people who haven't done it before, I don't care how much money they're throwing at the project.
It's a fucking nightmare.
It's going to be a waste of time. Nightmare. So, you know, I'm focusing on podcasting and stand-up, and that's kind of what inspires me right now.
People call me all the time to offer me films and shit the last 2.5 years, and I feel lazy. But on the other hand, I'm not lazy. You're just wasting my time.
That's right.
I know the outcome of this.
That's right.
I know the outcome
I've turned down
of this.
a lot of auditions for just episodic TV stuff because it's not going to do a goddamn thing. I mean, it's gotta affect where I'm headed. You know, that's kind of what.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm focusing on shooting my next special and that kind of stuff.
Where are you thinking of shooting at?
I think down in Irvine. I hope. You know.
The new place.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing the road so much right now because I'm trying to
tighten everything.
Yeah, because you know you got to tighten it up. You know, the stuff that can work really well. It's been great, and I had such a blast in Tempe this past weekend, by the way. Thank you, Tempe. But, you know, it's like you got to always figure out, like, there's stuff that'll kill a room and stuff, but then you want to be thematic or you want to be telling a story. And I don't know, man. It's a constant process.
Putting a special together is very, very hard.
Yeah.
Very tedious. It requires a lot of work. You have to look over your material every night. You have to get on stage every night. Yeah. There's words that'll make a joke just hilarious. Just a little
Exactly.
word. So,
well, it's like a song, man. It's like every bit is a rhythm. There's a rhythm and a melody to it. There's a song. And when you get the perfect number of words and the perfect emphasis, that's when the bit is complete. You know what I mean? Like it's done. And so after a while, you get an hour of that, and you want to shoot that shit and start again. I want to get it out of there.
Get it out of there. Now, you started in New York.
Started in New York.
What year?
First time I ever did stand-up, I think it was 1992, man.
And you gave it a break. What
I just wanted to be an actor, and Rogan was the one who got me back into stand-up, really. He was like, bro, what are you doing? You know, just get into stand-up. And I was like, all right. In fact, and watching Dane Cook, too. Like Dane Cook at Dublin's. I was like, I want to do that. He was killing me. He was really funny at the time. And I just said, I got to do that, man. I missed it. He looked like he was having so much fun. And Joe used to have so much fun. I was like, I know I can do that. I just got to start doing it again. So it's really what I am, bro. And I think you are, too.
Oh, I've come to the realization that, you know, I grew up on movies. It's how I learned to speak English. It's a part of who I am. I really enjoy watching a great fucking movie.
Yeah.
But I'm to the point where I saw behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And
really
I like it.
It's a good way to put it.
I like it, but I tell you what, at the end of the day, unless it's a certain thing, a certain way, I'm in. If not, pass. I'd much rather go to fucking Portland this weekend.
Yeah.
I'd much rather go to Philadelphia next week. I'd much rather go to Vegas with
You going to
Joe.
Philly? I love Philly.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Healing
was great.
Yeah. No, the city's
I'm
great.
doing that in
the people
December,
are
man.
great.
I can't
yeah.
wait.
And you want to go there when it's cold.
Yeah,
you don't
man.
want to fuck around in the heat in Philly with
I
humidity.
can't.
You
No.
want to
I'm going.
I go to all those coast city towns in the heat of the
Yeah.
winter. Fuck you and
Yeah.
all that shit. Wait till June. I go to Buffalo in January when them motherfuckers gotta go out. When you're on those beef
I'll be in
sandwiches.
Boston in January. That's going to be too cold. I went into Boston last January, and I literally was waiting for the bus outside, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Laugh Boston. Or you do the
Yeah.
Wilbur.
Laugh Boston.
Oh, you do the Laugh
Yeah.
Boston.
Do you do the Wilbur?
No, I'm going back to Laugh Boston.
Laugh Boston was a good club, man.
Great club, and they
Yeah.
fixed a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
They got complaints, but I didn't give a fuck. I thought it was a great club. They had
Yeah.
great food.
Yeah.
And
Packed it in.
Nice
It's gonna be a good
hotel.
time.
Nice hotel. They tried really hard.
Yep.
You know, comedy clubs pop and go. Some of them go, some of them come back.
Yeah.
And some of that.
Tempe's kicking ass. When was the last time you did Tempe?
Last year with Ari.
Oh,
and
man.
I'm going back.
It's beautiful.
That's the only one I work. I don't want
Tempe's
to work
great.
stand-up Phoenix. It's too big for me.
Yeah.
And Tempe's big, but it's small.
Yeah.
Tempe,
Tempe,
big,
you can
but-
get it. You can
Plus, I
fill
got
that
my
place
roots
up.
in that place.
Yeah.
I've been doing comedy in Tempe since 1997. You know, and then I went with Joe every year. Then I went by myself, and it's just you have roots in these rooms. Then they want to pop up another room, and people are like, well, you can make more money at the other room. It doesn't matter. I have roots in
I
there.
agree,
I'm friends
man.
with these fucking walls.
That's what I mean.
I know these walls. I've been through hours of pain through these walls.
Yeah.
These walls know who the
I like the
fuck
West
am.
Palm Beach Improv too. I
Do you
love
really?
that. I love Florida, bro. I love Fort Lauderdale, and I love the West Palm Beach. Ooh, I love it.
How many times do you go down there? Twice
Shit.
a year.
I don't. I go down once a year, really, usually. But man, it's always packed, and I have a blast. I have a blast.
These podcasts have opened up doors for us, and the other door it opened, it let people know who we are, but it also let people know what's in our heart and what's in our mind.
Yeah.
People aren't getting up anymore and running out unless some club owner gives out 20 tickets to like a church group where they get up
Yeah.
and run out. People are all in now. When they go to these shows, they know who the fuck you are. They know what you're going to talk about. They even have a direction where you want them. They want you to take them.
That's right.
It's very amazing what I've learned from the podcast. I was on my way to being a good stand-up comic. This has made me better.
Yeah.
This podcasting has definitely made me better. Doing an edible with you twice a week has made me a better man. Look at the shape of you, cocksucker.
I'm pretty high.
Where are you going to go eat tonight? What are you thinking about right now? If you could eat, fuck the diet. Well, tell Brian what
Where
you
are you eating?
Fuck the diet right now.
Where would you eat? Where would you eat tonight if you could fucking... You would probably go...
Know where I'd go?
Burrito with French fries is nasty.
I was gonna go with carne asada fries.
Who the fuck do you think you're dealing with? I
Those
know
are
exactly.
fucking amazing.
You're a sucker for those things. Right over there.
What do you mean sucker? They're delicious. What's
That
better than
shit-
French fries with steak and guacamole?
I watched
sour
that.
cream?
I watched that food special the other night, the food show, and it had Fat Sal's. And I got to tell you something, guys. That's not for me.
No.
Even when I was a fat fuck and I liked that type of food, that wasn't for me. That's never been what I like.
Oh really?
An egg
I've-
on a sandwich with,
Oh,
with
it's so-
chicken fingers, and what? That's not for me.
No.
You want to put a chicken parmesan together with a little sausage in that motherfucker
Oh.
and melt the cheese and the sausage for flavor? That's old school with some hard Italian bread. That I'm all in. First of all, they also claimed something. They also said they were one of the few people, or one of the first people that put French fries on their sandwiches. That's a lie. In West New York, New Jersey, you have that fucking one Cuban place where the Yankees go. It's been there for 30 years. Georgie gets the ticket. Georgie will take the $60 ticket because he goes, there's nowhere to park. There's nowhere to
Dad,
park.
just probably take the $60 ticket.
Who gives a fuck?
I do the same
Just
thing.
make sure
I do the
you
same
get
thing.
20 sandwiches.
I will get a fucking ticket sometimes. I'm not going to deal with the parking. I'm like, you know what? It's worth it. What's it going to cost me? $65?
Fuck it.
It's expensive.
Fuck
It hurts me. I don't care.
I'm not walking 2 miles. Just give me the fucking sandwiches.
Yeah.
I'll eat with the ticket in the windshield like a soldier.
In fact, my meter's running out. I better run.
What meter? You got no fucking meter up here.
Down
Fuck
here,
shit.
the meter. They're
What
really
meter?
strict.
There's no meter.
They're strict down here. I
We
got
paid the fucking lady.
No, and then I got the thing I got to go to after
What
this.
thing?
The thing when they're waiting for me over there. The whole
I
fucking
love
arena.
you, cocksucker. I'm happy you came out tonight. I'm happy
You're
you were on
beautiful.
time and you were a gentleman. And it
Joey
was a
Diaz.
pleasure having you. I wish to do yours the next few weeks.
I can't wait.
So we'll have for
You
Thanksgiving.
are a true original. And I
and so are
really
you, my
appreciate
brother.
that. So
I'm
it's
happy you
always
came tonight. You don't even. We'll read the ads without you in here. How's that?
There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
could do this
Come
shit
see me in
right
Ontario this week.
Ontario Improv. Bryan Callen, give him some
You're gonna
love.
be. You're gonna
always.
be in Portland.
I will be in Portland at Helium. Tickets are going fast. Don't fuck around. Tomorrow night they're showing up with fucking grenades and chocolate bars. Some guy's showing up with 2 pounds of mushroom chocolate.
Go see
night.
Joey Diaz.
So if I
It's
was
an
you tomorrow night and you're in
experience.
fucking Portland, don't fuck around. Fuck the rain. Fuck the rain jacket. Fuck Ebola. Come on down. We're going to eat some nice chocolate mushroom tomorrow
There
night.
it is, Portland.
I don't think I have
Portland.
any
Diaz
radio.
or die. Diaz or fucking die.
And the week after that, Philadelphia. You know how we do it. We ain't fucking around no more.
Hey, I'll be at the American Comedy Club next weekend. Come see me
Beautiful.
there. Fucking San Diego, Ontario, and San Diego.
Who's better than you? You're not taking another plane
You
the
are.
rest of the year.
You're
right?
better than I am.
You're not taking no more planes the rest of the year?
I got to, but I'm taking a break.
All right.
I hate planes. Ladies and
I love you,
gentlemen.
cocksucker.
Love you, man.
Lee Syatt, what's your problem?
What's my problem?
Yeah, what are you sitting there giving me the evil eye for? We still got another edible to eat.
Oh no, I'm not having any more edibles.
Listen, I'm happy you guys listened tonight. What'd you think, Lee? You like this one tonight?
Yeah.
A little slow for you tonight? You like a little movement, don't you, cocksucker?
No, it's good.
Yeah, all right.
I'm just
You
get
didn't
me
say
high.
much tonight. Well, who gives a
Well,
fuck?
no,
That's
I
my
mean-
job. I got to get you a little high because now the rest of the week you just sit there with the woman at home. Watch, oh, this is great. You sit there like a fucking mook. What do you got on tap this week?
This week I actually have a night by myself. She's
Come
going to like a school thing, and it's only girls. So I don't know what I'm gonna do Friday.
What do you mean she's going to a school thing and it's only girls? What kind of
I
shit
don't know.
is that?
It's like a women's group function. I don't
For
know.
what? For Mexican women?
Yeah, I think so.
Really? You don't want to go crash and see what you like Mexican women? I would go hide under the table and throw chains on the floor or something. You're filthy little fuck, aren't you?
Chained on the floor.
Aren't you taking us somewhere this weekend for tamales or something like that? A
No.
cupcake class or something?
I did sign up for another class though. She signed up for it. It's good though. You'll like it. Steak class.
Steak class. And what do they teach you how to make?
Steak, duck fat potatoes, which will look good. Some
When are you doing
veggies.
this?
December. I think.
I don't mind if you go, but you got to bring something back for the cat. You know what I'm saying?
Of
Don't hold me
course.
to the fucking wolves here. You're supposed to be family. The church wants to The church wants to really welcome our new sponsor here, IronDragonTV.com. They're really from Nanotech. They sponsor Tim Kennedy and Mike McDonald from the UFC. I mean, they're a great guy. I went out with him the other night to dinner, and really interesting. And he's got this company called IronDragonTV.com. And what they do is they have, it's a Roku channel, correctly?
Right. Yes.
And what they have is classic kung fu movies like Tai Chi Zero, Ip Man series, classics like the Enter the Fat Dragon, shit like that. You guys are going to love it. They got Life of a Ninja. They got Donnie Yen. They got Young Fat. What we're going to do is this. You go to IronDragonTV.com. We want you to try it out. Let me know what you think. You go to the box and you press in.
Joey.
All right? Free rentals. Check it out. See what they got. You're going to fucking love it. You're not going to be sorry. Trust me. My wife already went on it. She likes the whole system, how it works. IronDragonTV.com. Go on there. What's the code word, brother?
Joey. And
Joey.
the cool thing is, a lot of people's complaints about some of the online video services is that they have a lot of choices, but none of them are any good. These people, they like martial arts movies, and that's all they have, and they're gonna have good ones. It's like that's sometimes the problem you get with some of the bigger ones is they have some movies, but they don't have like the cool stuff.
And I know they're doing something with the 4K TV.
Oh yeah.
Which gets released January 1st, or for the holidays, or some people already ordering. So I'll keep you up to date on that. But for right now, go to IronTV.com, press in,
Joey.
get 2 free rentals. Let's welcome them, do a nice job, give them some love, all right? Number 2, on it. As usual, who's better than them?
No.
You want to be in the top of your fucking game, you need to get on it. Whether you want the Shroom Tech, whether you want the Hemp Force Protein, whether you want the Alpha Brain, all that stuff, I'm giving you 10% off if you go to joeydiaz.net, go to the on it box and press in. Church. And this is 10% off on the new MCT oil, the coconut oil to put in your smoothie, to loosen your bones, it helps you burn fat. I haven't tried it yet. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm still on the Alpha Brain and the hemp protein bars. It's funny because I just finished my hemp protein bars. I got to get some more of them. Remember we had them in the office?
Yeah,
Then
you
they sent
finished
me a
them.
box to the house and I finished them. Tremendous. After a workout, you inhale one of those and it holds you over for at least an hour till you get to your meal. I think it's 14 grams of protein. You really need 30, so eat 2 of them. What do you come to me for with fucking your problems? Go to onit.com right now and press in.
Church.
And get 10% off your order. Stay on it. Go to the Stay On It program. You get 10% off every month, and it gets delivered to your house on the first of the month. No drama, no nothing. Let me talk to you people about something. There's one word people love all the time. You know what that word is? Free. There's nothing better than the word free. Why are you fucking around? You're probably sitting there eating those goldfish, this miserable eats, or some fucking cookies or something. Why are you fucking around? Go to naturebox.com. They want to offer you a free starter package. You get 5 bags of delicious, nutritious, approved stuff. Stop going to that fucking potato chip glass at your work when you get tremendous fucking snacks sent directly to your house. And guess what? The first order is free, bitch. Free, free, free. Go to naturebox.com and put in the box what?
Joey.
/Joey. That's it. Joey. That's
Joey.
it. And get a box delivered to your house immediately, ASAP, of the best tasting snacks you've ever had in your life.
And they don't even charge you for shipping.
And they don't even charge you for shipping. That's how these motherfuckers do. Whether they have the cocoa almonds or the sriracha fucking the pistachios.
They have kettle corn
kettle
kernels.
I mean, whatever. And every day they're adding stuff. So don't fuck around now. Go to naturebox.com and press in Joey in the box and get your free snacks sent to your house on the double. Who's better than that? Again, like we told this fucking dude before. Listen to me. You're walking around with nasty fucking underwear. You got skid marks. Maybe you got a pimple. You popped it. The pus is hanging on your underwear. You got to wash it. You didn't shout it off. You don't need that shit. Go to MeUndies.com. You know how long guys have underwear for? 7 years. You nasty, filthy motherfuckers. Do you think women would keep their underwear for 7 years? Yeah. Some fucking dirty chick in the projects or something like that. But a natural woman, they maintain that fucking monkey. You got to change the underwear. Willie, stop looking at yourself. You're freaking me out. Go to MeUndies.com right now. They got a great selection of men's and women underwear. They're sexy. They fit tight. They don't slip. Your nuts don't fall out the side. They're tremendous underwear, comfortable. I got a pair of them on right now. I'm fucking floating. My nutsack is in place. You haven't seen me go to move my nuts. Sometimes I'm here and I'm fidgety. That's because I don't have MeUndies on. Because MeUndies keeps your nuts in place very nice. Go to MeUndies.com. See what they got. Press in the box what?
Joey.
And you get 20% off your first order. And guess what?
They get free shipping if you live in the United States and Canada.
And Canada. Stop fucking around, Canada. Stop walking around hitting your balls. Women, stop walking around separating those lips. Go to MeUndies.com. Get a nice pair of undies. They keep you cool down there. The monkey's fresh. Everybody's happy. You can spread your fucking little bat and nobody will get a bowl. That's how they roll, all right?
Code word Joey.
Also, tonight, what's the code word?
Joey.
All right, MeUndies.com. Code word Joey. Get the stuff shipping for free. Canada and the U.S. Now I want to give a shout-out to my main motherfuckers. These guys support me from A to Z. That's why we do business with them. We love them to death. We have a great vapor pen out there. NailedItLife.com. Go to NailedItLife.com and press in.
Joey Diaz.
They got a selection of shirts. They got vapor pens. You get 20% off your vapor pen. They don't fuck around with you. And they ship everywhere, all around the world. Everybody's smoking their fucking vapor pen. From Finland to Syatt to whatever the fuck. I'm making up.
They send them to Siam?
I guess so. Siam, whatever the fuck the name of the country is. It doesn't really matter. NailedItLife.com. Tremendous vapor pen. What do you have to press in the box?
Joey Diaz.
And you get 20% off your first order. Usually $50. You get it for $40. Who's better than me? I gave you On It to keep you healthy. Nature Box to keep you strong and healthy. MeUndies.com to keep your asshole in shape. IronDragonTV.com so you can watch Kung Fu movies from Yip Man to Shao Hunt Young Fat. The Lip Man series, the whole fucking deal, all right? And then we close up with the best vapor pen out there, NailedItLife.com. Who's better than us?
No one.
Lee, what the fuck? You're sitting there like a Mamaluka EA. Beside that, it's all low but the shouting. I'll be in Portland this week, Philadelphia the week after that, and then we got a workshop for a one-man show we're doing up at the Ice House on the 26th, the night before Thanksgiving. You're going to have a great time. Thank you for tuning us into your lives. Thank you for being bad motherfuckers. Thank you. That's it. Stay black, cocksuckers.
Hey guys, now that the show's over, don't forget to go to naturebox.com and sign up to get your free sample box of great tasting healthy snacks. Forget the vending machine and start snacking smarter with delicious treats like barbecue corn kettle kernels. Go to naturebox.com/Joey. That's naturebox.com/Joey. Also, go to onit.com and use code word church to get 10% off of any of the great products Joey and Bryan talked about tonight. Alpha Brain, New Mood, Shroomtech Immune, Dreamtech Sport, anything like that, use code word church to get 10% off. Also, go to MeUndies.com/Joey. That's MeUndies.com/Joey. and check out the pics of all the different styles of underwear they have for men. And for the girls, check out hot looking boy shorts. When you go to MeUndies.com/Joey, you're going to get 20% off of your first order. And for a limited time right now, they're shipping for free to the United States and Canada. Go to IronDragonTV.com and use code word Joey, and you're going to get 2 free rentals of all of your favorite Kung Fu movies, Chow Yun Fat, any martial art movies, they have it. Use code word Joey, to get 20% off.
Jesus Christ, Lee.
I was doing good until then. And then go to naileditlife.com for the premier vapor pen on the market. Use code word Joey Diaz and you get 20% off.
Special podcast, 1 o'clock Monday afternoon. 1 o'clock, special podcast.